Walk into any premium juice bar today, and you'll see someone shelling out $5 to $8 for 2 ounces of bright green liquid. Customers throwing down that kind of cash are buying into a very specific set of promises. They're told this tiny shot will oxygenate their brain, balance their hormones, and completely detoxify their body. And to get those supposed benefits, they willingly choke down a liquid that tastes aggressively like someone ran a lawnmower over a wet golf course and squeezed the clippings. Which brings us to a rather expensive question. Are people paying a premium for a genuine biological superfuel, or has the wellness industry successfully convinced everyone to overpay for pure grass? To separate the biological reality from the juice bar folklore, we need to take that specific checklist of miracle claims and run it through an actual scientific audit. Almost all the heavy lifting in wheatgrass marketing relies on one specific molecule, chlorophyll. In the plant kingdom, chlorophyll is absolutely essential, acting as the engine for photosynthesis to turn sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide into food. But as this diagram shows, comparing a leaf absorbing sunlight to a human stomach breaking down matter, there is a massive biological mismatch. The human digestive system simply does not process chlorophyll to create energy the way a plant leaf does. Now, let's look at the claim that drinking this stuff sends a rush of oxygen to your brain. If we zoom right into the chlorophyll molecule itself, we can see that the oxygen atoms are locked into very rigid chemical bonds. When those molecules enter your bloodstream, human blood cells physically lack the ability to break those strong bonds. They flow right past without interacting with or extracting a single oxygen atom. You cannot drink your way to better oxygen levels. Fortunately, humans already have a highly evolved, specialized organ dedicated entirely to oxygenating the blood, your lungs. The next big claim usually centers around magnesium. Promoters argue that the specific magnesium found inside that chlorophyll molecule is the secret to perfectly balancing human hormones. The problem here is bioavailability. Just because an element exists inside a plant doesn't mean your body can use it. The magnesium locked inside this specific plant structure is not readily absorbed by human digestion. If your body is actually deficient in magnesium, swallowing a standard, extremely cheap vitamin pill will give you a far more usable dose than a whole tray of wheatgrass. That brings us to the more abstract promises you'll see on the menu board. You'll often read that a shot cleanses the lymph, builds the blood, or flushes toxins. Notice how intentionally ambiguous those phrases are. They sound medical, but they don't actually define a specific biological process. This is a deliberate strategy to bypass strict food and pharmaceutical regulations, because making concrete promises to cure real, diagnosable diseases without clinical evidence is highly illegal. The wellness industry relies on these pseudoscientific legal loopholes instead. Which makes the most extreme marketing claim of all, that wheatgrass physically flushes heavy metals out of human cells, particularly interesting. When agricultural scientists look at live wheatgrass root systems in the soil, they find the exact opposite. Those roots are highly prone to pulling up heavy metals, specifically absorbing elements like zinc and cadmium directly from the earth. Furthermore, if a person has actual heavy metal poisoning, they are facing a severe medical emergency. That requires immediate clinical treatment from a doctor, not a 2-ounce vegetable juice. But surely it's at least packed with rare vitamins. You will frequently hear that wheatgrass is one of the few plant sources loaded with vitamin B12. That is simply false. This chart shows the actual nutritional profile of a fresh wheatgrass shot compared to a generic multivitamin. The grass provides a minor amount of vitamin C and iron, and that's about it. When you stack a shot up against standard, fraction of the cost dietary alternatives, its supposedly extraordinary nutritional density effectively drops to zero. None of this means drinking wheatgrass juice is dangerous or harmful. It's perfectly fine to consume. But at its core, it is merely a heavily romanticized, aggressively marketed liquid vegetable. The real lesson here is learning to spot the sleight of hand. We must recognize when the wellness industry stacks up biological buzzwords to mask a total lack of independent clinical evidence. So the next time you're standing at the counter trying to decide what to order, save your money and skip the overpriced, grassy-tasting shot. Real medical treatments belong in a clinic. A juice bar is best used for exactly what it was built for, enjoying a delicious, traditional fruit smoothie